Hello, everyone. My name is Navas, and we are here to talk about AI and manipulatives. Welcome to room number one, and I will be presenting today. And I'm really excited to be here for a lot of different reasons. Obviously, AI being one of the leading techs out there that's getting ready, well, is here, but is also getting ready to shake up education. So when it comes to shaking up things, I'm all about it. I'm going to just share my screen, and I'm going to jump right into our presentation. Also, just so that you know, I am joined today by, Jacob from Marco Health, who's going to be taking a second part of the presentation today. He has something very exciting to share with you all that definitely connects to us as educators. So let's get started. Let me just share my screen. Okay, so I'm going to be talking today a little bit about AI and the practical uses in education. Now, again, AI coming onto the scene has really disrupted a lot of different industries. And in education, it's done the same, where people are starting to wonder, how can we use this for teaching and learning? So we're going to talk a little bit about what is AI, how can we use AI in EDU, hands-on coding prompts. So we actually just released an ebook today. Hands-on Coding released an ebook on it's a guidebook for educators and how to use ChatGPT. So we'll show you that in a second. How can we help students use AI, and how would we use AI in the classroom? So we'll open that up for people to respond. And then how can AI help education? This is where we're going to have Jacob come in and show you an actual AI manipulative that can be used in school districts, classrooms, and can apply to many different levels. So let's get started. My name is Marcos Navas. I'm actually a TED Ed innovative educator. I am also an IDEO design think educator expert, a Raspberry Pi certified educator, founder of Hands-on Coding and Latinos in Coding. Oh, sorry about that. And more importantly, here to talk about AI and how we could use it. So some examples of artificial intelligence that are already here, and that's something a lot of people don't realize. You know, AI, I know the word is buzzing and it's becoming a very popular word, but AI has been here for years and years and years. I mean, I still remember, or some of you may have called a recent credit card company or an agency, and you get now a robot that says, "How may I help you?" You no longer get those human contacts. However, those robots are powered by AI. So chatbots, smart assistants, e-payments, these are all different types of examples that we are currently using for AI. I know Canva just released this past week their Magic tool, and they had a big event around that. Facial recognition is becoming more and more common. If you're using Snapchat and some of these other filters where it's looking for a face and then altering it with AR, that's all AI working in the background. So again, AI is here, it's been here, and it is all around. Text editors, social media feeds. So my wife always gets very spooky because there'll be times we'll be talking about a commercial or something we saw on TV or something like that, and then all of a sudden on our social media feeds, boom, there's that item in an ad. So again, AI, that's AI working, listening, and trying to pretty much feed you things that it thinks you would like to see. So again, AI has been here for years and years and years. But here's the question is, how can we use AI in education? And again, for many years, education has always been a little hesitant to embrace technology right from the doorway. However, this time around, I think because of the way how fast technology is moving, education is sort of has to get with the times in a sense where it needs to speed up and it needs to embrace a lot of these new texts for many different reasons. One, the most important reason is it's not about us, it's about our students, and exposing students to these worlds is very, very important. So what are some practical uses of AI in EDU? So very simple, straight up uses. It could serve as a teacher assistant. I have to tell you, I actually beta tested ChatGPT before its release in December. I was on a podcast talking about how this is going to transform education a couple of weeks after it released. But I have to tell you that I've been using ChatGPT for so many different things, for creating lessons, for creating entire programs and workshops. I've used it for marketing. I've used it to create content for social media, for brainstorming. So there's a lot of different ways as an educator, as a teacher, I can use it almost as a teacher assistant. Various different tasks, just as simple as grading, developing lessons, assessments, brainstorming ways to engage students. These are all different ways I can use as an educator. School-wide, I mean, again, we can, as a district or a school, we can use ChatGPT for a lot of different ways as well. I love using it to create community communications, again, social media, marketing, and things like that. How to improve systems. So there are certain systems that may not be working too well in the district. Well, it simply feed some of that information to ChatGPT, and they'll come up with a brainstorm of possibilities. Also, creating budgets. I've used this to help me along the way to create budgets for programs and things like that. And again, schools and districts can use it like that as well. Student assistant, and Jacob will talk a little bit more about this later, and because this is already here, and we actually going to be showing you a physical manipulative, a physical AI robot that can be used to help students. But there's many different ways. I mean, we've always talked about a student assistant. Well, with ChatGPT, that's literally what we can do. Students have an assistant, and please, educators, please do not think your students don't know about ChatGPT. It's a very good chance they not only know about it, but have been using it already. So us as educators, when new tech comes out, it's all about teaching them about the morality side, about how to really use it, you know, staying away from the plagiarism side and the tools that are there to help us with plagiarism. So there's a lot of different ways we can use AI with students. And I know plagiarism was a big red flag when ChatGPT dropped, and a lot of school districts panicked. They shut down ChatGPT from their web filters and all that. Some of them embraced it. Some of them maybe opened it up for teachers only and not for their students. But I have to tell you, a lot of our students have these little devices called cell phones with an app called ChatGPT. So even if they're not on your network, they are using it. So instead of fighting that fight, I think, you know, we should embrace it, but more importantly, show them how to use it as a tool correctly. Also, AI can be used as a community tool. So again, we can use it to drive positive change on a community level. So again, just a couple of different ways. So one of the most exciting and popular new college majors is prompt engineering. And this was because of the ChatGPT phenomenon. So the idea of how do we train our bots, how do we get the best out of them efficiently, and a lot of that will come down to prompt engineering, how you train the bot, the questions you ask, the follow-up questions, setting the tone per se, you know, letting the bot know what role they're going to be playing. These are all important little pieces when it comes to prompt engineering. Okay, so again, like I said, we just released a hands-on coding guide to ChatGPT for educators. Literally just released it today. There is a QR code here if you want to snap your picture, or just go to our webpage, our resource page, hands-on coding resource page. You'll find the link there. Just download it right from our webpage. It is a free download. There is no charge. And again, this is going to be full of different prompts and ideas for education. We broke this up into a couple of different areas. We have admins, a section for admins. We have a section for teachers, how to class prep and how to use it just for class prep. We have a separate section for students, a separate section for community and how they can use it. And again, this is a book full of prompts that you can literally open up a ChatGPT account and jump right into it and start using these prompts to get some ideas and brainstorm some cool, engaging ways to get your students involved. So again, please check out the hands-on coding guide to ChatGPT. It is a free download. Again, it's full of broken up to a couple different chapters, but it was created for education in mind and to help you with creating prompts that can be effective in the classroom. So how can we help students using AI? Well, there is a lot of different ways. And again, we do have a chapter just for this in the guidebook, but some ways that we can help students to use AI tools effectively. First of all, obviously introducing it to them. There's so many different bots out there right now. And again, sometimes we adults, we assume that because kids are young and energetic, they're good with tech. That's not necessarily always true. You know, so sometimes we do need to formally introduce tools to them, let them know how it works, how it looks, maybe help them create an account or anything like that. But then showing them how to prompt, how to ask questions, how to train. So introducing the AI tools, and there's so many out there. ChatGPT is just one of them. There are literally hundreds and hundreds of bots out now, whether daily with art or you know, you're creating slides, whether you want to convert pictures. There's an AI bot out there for almost every scenario. It can provide support. So again, it can be almost like a 24-hour access to a resource, a tool that can help them at any moment. It can encourage critical thinking, believe it or not. There are times that I'm just stumped on an idea and I just jump in and just literally have a conversation with my ChatGPT bot, and we can get through almost any big problem. I think I've gotten through with it, but what I love is the critical thinking portion, the ideas, the brainstorming that it can go through to help you out with certain scenarios. And again, it is very important to keep up to date. Listen, AI is not going anywhere. This is just the beginning. We haven't really even hit a boom yet, but AI is definitely here to stay. And again, it's not about us, it's about exposing our students to these tools, because they are going to be the ones that are going to be heavily using this in the future. AI is going to be a tremendous part of all of your students' lives on many different levels. And they're using it already. So again, stay up to date and you know, keep an ear out there for what's happening in AI, because again, there's so many tools out there that you can bring in that can be so effective in the classroom.
Are you ready to revolutionize your professional learning? It's time to ignite your passion with EduMatch. Inspire, connect, and grow. Access over 150 professional learning facilitators and explore a wide range of educational topics. This is not just professional development, this is a movement. Discover how EduMatch can support your school or district. Connect with us today and make a world of difference for your students. To learn more, visit us online at edumatch.org.
All right. So how would you use AI in the classroom? So I'm just going to leave this open for the chat. Please just chat ways that you've been thinking about using AI in the classroom. And I'm just going to step out 1 second, because I would actually like to show, can you all see my screen still? I hope so. Yeah. Let me just go back to stop share and try this one more time. Sorry. Yeah, here we go. So again, when you go and download the book, I just wanted to really briefly show you how it's broken down. We have a section just for prepping for class, for instructional, for admins. We have a section for students. We do introduce the idea of for each topic, but then we actually give you actual prompts that you can use. So we give you sample prompts for creating lesson plans, rubrics, project ideas, icebreakers, how to create learning goals and objectives, creating assessments. So again, these are all sample prompts that you can literally copy and paste into your bot and get some pretty cool ideas. All right. So for now, what I want to do is I'm actually going to hand this over to Jacob. Jacob is has become a partner with Hands-On Coding, and he is going to be talking about Marco Health, his company, and more importantly, an AI robot. So when we talk in education about artificial intelligence, there's so many levels of how we can use this. Well, he's developed a robot, a therapy robot that can be used as a therapy tool, supportive tool, but it could also be a manipulative in education when it comes to AI, because it's an actual physical robot that is powered by ChatGPT. But please allow me to introduce to you all Jacob Boyle from Marco Health. Jacob,
Thank you, Marcos. Yeah, I will say also, it's just a complete coincidence that my company name is Marco Health, and I'm partnering with Marcus Navas. That was
not do this on purpose.
Destiny kind of thing.
The doll of the company was not named after me, guys. I just want to say that real quick.
So I'll just pick up where Marcos had left off. So hi everyone, I'm Jacob Boyle. I like to say that I've kind of had three themes follow me my entire life: mental health, education, and AI/robotics, whether I liked them or not. So I founded a company called Marco Health Inc. After several years where I had been struggling with severe bouts of depression, anxiety, self-harm, and suicidal tendencies. And I had seen a lot of my family members and close friends when I was both in high school and college going through a lot of the same things and not getting any support that they needed, really. And this ended up in hospital visits, serious self-harm issues, and just long-term mental health challenges developing. And I had also been working at that time as a military robotics engineer until I found out that what I thought was going to be a life-saving device, something that would defuse bombs remotely in the field, was actually going to be a life-taking device, a robot bomb. And so I quickly left that and decided, I want to use my talents for good. And that's how I ended up founding this company, basically as a way to take robots, and specifically this little guy named Marco, the mental health assisting robot companion, to bring AI into student mental wellness and mental health support, especially for students who couldn't get it any other way. But what we kind of quickly found is it wasn't just enough to support students mentally and emotionally. There's you have to take it at the whole person approach, and not just be bringing this in as something that focuses just on mental health, but also focuses on all aspects of students' development, because there are a ton of challenges that are all interlinked for students, especially in this day and age, especially after almost 2 years of virtual learning, when I was actually also a private STEM tutor for a good portion of the pandemic, and saw the impact that had on a lot of my students having to switch to virtual learning, their grades falling, their stress increasing, not to mention now a lot more anxiety disorders popping up just as a result of everything going on. So what Marcos and I are looking at, and what I wanted to share, what we're looking at, what we are doing now is we are bringing this kind of a technology that is meant not just to, or is meant to have a dual-sided approach in helping out students across, starting in New Jersey, but we're looking to bring this across the entire US to address not just the mental and emotional and social needs of students with current mental health conditions, but also to help them be ready for the future of interacting with AI in a reasonable and ethical way, learning about AI topics in a STEAM setting, and also learning social emotional topics with curriculums based around this tool that's doubly serving as their mental health support tools. So, yeah, like I said, Marco, mental health assisting robot companion. It's a dual-sided approach. And it's really, our mission is holistic student support, emotional needs, intellectual needs, and social needs. And there is a lot that goes behind Marco. Is we're going to do a live demo and interactive. I'll be asking for your input to kind of guide the demo towards the end. But if you're not, if you don't see something, I'm just going to bring this over here, that you would like to see more of or learn more about in a particular application, you can either scan here, and I'm going to drop in the chat a link to just a little form that you can fill out, and we'll be able to send you, the kind of information or videos or whatever it may be, set up a personal demonstration for whatever you're exactly looking for, because I know we're not going to be able to get through this in the remaining 20-ish minutes of this presentation. So, well, a little promo about what we've done. So yes, Marco is, while it was started with the intention of working primarily with high school and college age students, again, going back to its mental health roots, focusing on where is it the most critical ages for the development of lifetime mental illnesses. We have worked with as young as elementary and pre-K, and we have worked with as old as graduate students as well, just in the realm of education. And there is, like I said, the dual-sided whole student approach, and even in the types of curriculums we build around Marco, it is also dual-sided, that we don't want to just focus on STEM or SEL. We want to have kind of comprehensive lessons in both. And again, I'll be going over a little bit more of this when we do the demonstration, but particular lessons that can be employed readily with students. Prompt engineering, which is huge, especially as a generative AI like ChatGPT comes around more, learning how to ethically create prompts to get these AIs to do accurate and important tasks. It is Raspberry Pi powered for education, so any curriculum that can be done on a Raspberry Pi, especially AI in Raspberry Pi, can be integrated directly into this robot as an AI manipulative. We have building kits. This body is actually interchangeable, so students can create and customize their own Marco as additional STEM education. And on the SEL side, there's topics for, say, children with ASD or IDD, for behavioral self-regulation, socialization. There are skills for better communication. I mean, I'm sure a lot of educators can say, every student needs better communication at some point or another. And even differentiating learning for students at different levels of capability in the classroom, having a personalized coach to help them through even just normal lessons. On the emotional support side, mental health support side, and not just students, right? Educators are also under enormous amounts of stress for a million and one reasons. This can even be a way to support your own mental health in the classroom. If this is something that's being used with your students, it's even something that can be used with yourself. Companionship. So as we'll see, it's AI powered to have engaging, meaningful conversations. It can guide with meditation, relaxation, and self-regulation exercises to reduce classroom stress, anxiety, and cope with things that might be going on outside of school to improve performance inside of school. There's talk support, where Marco can actually act as a coach or counselor for a variety of more serious issues or challenges that students are facing and progressing at the rate they want to be. Biofeedback for also connecting in with the physical component of education, and emergency outreach. So if this is something that's being used by students, and an administrator or social worker or teacher or even family needs to know when there's a red flag, whether that's self-harm or suicide, or feeling threatened or threatening a school, they can be immediately notified if Marco's AI picks up on any of these indicators, both through conversation and the camera in the nose picking up any behaviors that seem a little bit off. Now, I know I talked a lot, but I think it's time to let Marco talk a little bit. And I wanted this to be a little bit of an interactive demonstration. So I'm going to walk through some of the things Marco can do. And I'll be kind of asking for questions if you either want to come off mute or just drop in the chat. as
And
I
Jacob,
go.
I'll monitor the chat room. So again, if you guys have any questions or would like to see anything, please just drop it in a chat. I can, interrupt and have Jacob focus on that. All right.
Sure. So if you were using Marco, when you start, it is very much structured like almost like a therapy session. There's a routine to it. And in each step of the routine, that's where these different lessons can kind of come up. So if I start.
Welcome back on this fine day, Steve. I hope you had a great lunch. Woo, it's the weekend. Before we get started, please share how you're feeling using the form that appears on screen.
Could everyone hear Marco okay? I never know if the mic can pick him up or not.
We can hear him.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. So the first step in this structured session with Marco is always an emotional check-in. This is great, number one, if it was a one-on-one session with Marco, in getting a sense of where that individual student or yourself, if this was, stressful day and you just needed to vent to Marco at the end of it, get a baseline and an idea of where to drive the session. If this was something that was being used class-wide, this is a great opportunity to get, all class input, as part of the like baseline of how a class is doing, see how, or teach students how to kind of open up about their emotions more. So it comes with this screen as well for visual and interactive capabilities, and it is voice, so it does both. But for instance, you can see it has some basic emotions showing, and one of the SEL curriculums we build around it is learning more nuanced ways to communicate your emotions. So this is the first question I want to ask. What are some of the big challenges over the years you might have heard from students or other educators that if Marco were to just say, how are you feeling today to a class of your students, what might be the emotions you hear coming back?
Well, I'm just going to jump in because I know for me, one of the biggest things, two of the biggest things I always hear some type of anxiety about being in school. Okay. For whatever reason, kids are not morning people. So it's always that it's too early for this type of thing. So I would say those are probably the two biggest challenges when it comes to emotions, that it's just anxiety, very anxiety driven.
Anxiety and, yeah. So let's say you mentioned like, it's too early for this. The anxiety sounds like in your case, like comes from like feeling overwhelmed a lot of the time. So we could even try that. I feel very overwhelmed.
How strongly do you feel this emotion?
Very.
Could you tell me why you're feeling very overwhelmed?
So maybe let's just run with that. It's too early in the morning to be dealing with this much schoolwork.
So you said you feel very overwhelmed because it's too early in the morning to be dealing with this much schoolwork. Did I get that right?
Yes, you did.
Sorry, was that a yes or no that I got that right? I can relate to that, Steve. I've been there too. It can be overwhelming to wake up to a lot of work. Just take it one step at a time and try to prioritize the most important tasks. To work with your overwhelmed feelings, do you want to talk some more or do activities?
So as you probably or might be guessing, what Marco's using here is a lot of generative AI. That it's not that we have 1,000,001 responses programmed in for every possible thing that a student or user could say. It is using this one. Marco doesn't exclusively use ChatGPT. It uses a few different ones. But in terms of the prompt engineering lessons, this is a great way where we can kind of open that up to students to see how can they get different responses, how can they get better responses, maybe more diverse responses that don't sound necessarily as robotic. Maybe people are used to hearing things phrased, students are used to hearing things phrased a certain way, depending on say where they grew up, what their background is, what their ethnicity and race is, what their gender is, and personalizing that to themselves and seeing, I just came out of the AI ethics or ethics and AI program. This is a great prompt engineering lesson that goes with creating those kinds of responses.
EduMatch Publishing is dedicated to inspiring a love of reading in children one story at a time. Our books are designed for all ages and are written by educators for all students. Our goal is to transform your home or classroom into a world of reading, where students can explore and learn. As the publishing branch of EduMatch, we're proud to offer books that are created by experts in the field of education. Order your books today and start a new tradition with the special kiddos in your life. Visit our website to learn more.
What we heard after that was Marco can either talk or do activities. And again, depending on whether this is being used for student support or in the classroom setting as a curriculum, this is an important distinction of where you can choose it. So I'm just going to choose talk for a second.
Speak to me as a friend where we can chat in a lighthearted way, a counselor where I can give you a more serious listening ear, or a plain journal where you can vent without my interruption.
And again, it's very personalized, so there are different options, especially across the age, across the maturity. Little kids, especially ones in elementary school, we notice tend to view Marco as a buddy. Would love the friend talks, all generative AI. We have the counselor talks, which is more structured for student support. And again, these are both powered by ChatGPT and other generative AIs. And there are lessons around this in how can you ethically and safely craft these experiences for more challenging topics, like having a discussion as a counselor. And I'm going to just share a snippet of one of such, I guess, lesson materials that goes with it. I can find where in my million tabs I put it. So this one is this lesson is a little bit more older, so at like the high school or even college psych level, but it's basically looking at a conversation between Marco and say another student and rating it using like AP Psych lesson, what's the term, forms, proven, if you have different topics, different techniques that you have been learning in class, you can actually go through Marco's different responses and review them in that kind of a lens. And on the STEM side, you could even say, how can we tweak those prompts that Marco is using to generate these responses to have better results like this? Now, on the other end is the doing activities. And these, right, if I go back, we have a ton of different categories for student support, but also for a lot of these courses in both STEM and SEL. So one of the things I wanted to ask is, what are some behaviors you've seen students have challenges self-regulating over the years? Or what are some skills in their social emotional development that maybe you wish they had better experience with, or better capability? And we can go over some of the things that Marco can help in the classroom with those things.
Negative talk was one of the things that was said in the chat.
That's a great one. So what Marco actually can do is, if say your goal was to deal with negative talk, it actually has rewards kind of built into the robot. A lot of them really only work like in one-on-one settings, but in our curriculum packages, you can actually say, okay, when you hear the little Marco reward thing going off, that's when students can get rewarded for completing these kinds of programs. So for negative talk, there are a couple different exercises. The one that first comes to my mind is, can we do a self-worth story?
Sure. Would you want to craft an ad-lib story together?
Yes.
One ad-libbed story coming up. Right away, boss. Give me a type of animal, like a panda bear or a raccoon.
So what this does is it actually kind of gamifies a way of counteracting some of the negative talk that a student might be going through, especially like negative self-talk. And it's going to mix in fun elements like, giving an animal like that, as well as what are some things, later on, like what are some of the bad words you use to describe yourself, or what are some of, the things that your brain keeps saying that make you feel sad. And it combines that into sort of this fun activity that on the surface level is accessible to students of all ages, but starts to expose them to techniques to counteract those negative talks. Another one, cancel.
Okay, canceling. What would you like to do now?
Another one for the negative talk. Can we do the inner critic exercise?
We are going to start something called silencing your inner critic. Have you taken the quiz before?
This is a great one for both individual and classroom settings, because what Marco is walking students through and would be walking a classroom through is this proven or known quiz based on just filling out numbers and determining what kind of quote unquote inner critic is affecting you. And what it really is it's a way to visualize those negative talks, those negative thoughts, as if it was a person, to make it easier for especially younger children and adolescents to visualize concepts that are a little bit more abstract and counteract them with skills that are more real to them. And so something that would be used in this is having that kind of quiz printed out or on the computer in front of the students and have Marco lead the class in that kind of discussion. No, I have not.
Oh, absolutely. We can definitely do that. I want to make sure I understand you correctly, but we're going to do the thought-stopping activity first, right?
Oh, he misheard me. I think the Wi-Fi, my Wi-Fi has been like blipping in and out. I don't know if everyone can hear me because I've seen my power flicker a few times. Are there any other, since I see we're kind of running on short time a little bit, are there any other behaviors that anyone wants to see? Or is there anything so far I've kind of been touching on and breezing through that you'd like to learn a little bit more about?
And feel free to drop that in the chat. Any questions or would like to see it answer any predicament or situation. Also, again, with the shortage that we are seeing, not just with teachers and educators, but with supporting staff such as therapists and social workers and things like that in schools. And this isn't just in Jersey. I know this is happening nationwide. The shortage of educators that's happening, and especially therapists. It's very hard, to hire an educator, but never mind finding someone that's specialized, such as a therapist, is becoming more and more difficult for school districts. So again, this is a tool that can be used to support and help that shortage issue we're having in education right now. So again, please drop if anyone else would like to see anything, please drop. We do have Magdalena did drop and say a good example, Jacob. As a high school assistant principal, I was ARD chair, and in some IEPs, we need tools like this to provide immediate feedback and regulatory behaviors. I can see market or robot be an important part of a child's IEP, and I totally agree. And when I saw this, that's one of the first things I thought of right away, how it can definitely help our social workers and help that side of things of social emotional learning when it comes to education. And again, that's just one way. There's so many ways that we can almost customize Marco for different reasons if we wanted to as well. So yeah. Anybody else, any questions or anything? we're actually gonna let's just open this up for general questions. I know we're about to close the session in about a minute. So first and foremost, Jacob, thank you so much just for showing off the power of AI and how it can be used as a manipulative in the school setting, and in some cases, truly make an impact and transform the way education uses AI. So thank you so much for inspiring us. Thank you so much for sharing this with us. And I know this is just a small notch in the belt, because I think this little robot is on his way to a lot bigger things. So any other questions or comments? Okay, so it is 1:40, so we are going to end the session. Again, Jacob, thank you so much. Thank you for everyone for listening to us and going through the presentation. Again, my name is Marcos Navas. I do just want to put up real quick our contact. Actually, if you go to the last slide there, Jacob, I edited the last slide to have our contact. There you go.